The governor is walking in, and we're going to listen in to exactly what's happening tonight in the state address. Let's listen.
Would everyone please be seated? Governor Lombardo, we welcome you to the Assembly Chamber and look forward to your message.
There we go. Well, welcome everybody. Speaker Yeager, Majority Leader Canizero, Lieutenant Governor Anthony, members of the Senate and Assembly, honorable justices of the Supreme Court, welcome. Constitutional officers, where are you at? There you are. Welcome, welcome. Distinguished guests, my fellow Nevadans, good evening. I'm going to go off script here real quick. We had an unfortunate incident that I became aware of. And I think it's appropriate, before I begin, I want to thank the first responders who helped Assemblywoman Tracy Brown May. Please, please, please keep her in your prayers. Additionally, I want to acknowledge that all of us have friends and family who have been affected by the devastating wildfires in Southern California. Our hearts go out to those who are dealing with the fire's aftermath, and I ask that we all keep the good people of Los Angeles and the first responders who are working to keep them safe in our thoughts and prayers. I appear before you 2 weeks into the new year and 2 weeks away from the start of a new legislative session. I know all of you feel a profound and abiding sense of duty and honor to serve the people. Every day, we are entrusted with the distinct privilege of working for the citizens of this great state. It's no secret that in the coming months, we won't always see eye to eye on everything, and that's okay. What I do know, however, is that there will be absolutely no disagreement among us on two essential mandates: fulfilling the people's trust and giving them nothing less than our very best. Tonight, let's take a look at where our state is headed. I'll highlight my executive budget, summarize the state of our state, and outline where I believe our state's resources should be prioritized. Beforehand, I want to talk about who we are and where we've been. 100 years ago, almost to the day, Nevada Governor James Scrugum wrote to the Nevada legislature in his State of the State message that economic progress should not be restrained, quote, by burdensome legislation, excessive taxation, or unnecessary interferences, end quote. In 1925, Nevada's population was 85,000. Today, we're over 3.2 million. Governor Scrugum was spot on 100 years ago, and I'll bet what he wrote in 1925 will be true 100 years from now. It's that kind of disciplined leadership that has enabled Nevadans to march through decades of unexpected downturns and rise again and again with a renewed spirit of hope and optimism. I also believe that by embracing the Nevada way, a concept that as Nevadans, if we believe in ourselves sufficiently enough and trust one another to overcome adversity, no matter the order of magnitude, we shall never fail. We emerged from a brutal pandemic stronger and healthier. We instituted thoughtful changes in the way we operate, and we exercise our vested authority to substantially limit the growth of government. It's not about doing less, it's about doing better. To give you a sense of what I'm talking about, when I took over as governor, the IT project to replace our HR and financial operations systems had spent more than $100 million, but was no closer to implementation than when it started in 2017. I am proud to announce that the first phase of the financial system went live on January 2nd. And now Nevada's paying its bills. The HR system is on track to be fully implemented this summer, on time and within budget. We've made clear that our vision for Nevada's future is bracketed by the twin principles of fiscal discipline and decisive leadership. To put it simply, we're getting stuff done. Without hesitation, I can confidently say after 24 months in office, we are running government. Government is not running us. Meaning, in my administration, results are more important than process. I strongly agree with President Reagan's idea, quote, government can and must provide opportunity, not smother it. It must foster productivity, not stifle it, end quote. In 2 years, we've reduced the employee vacancy rate from 25% to half of that. Make note, I didn't ask for applause. Morale and working conditions have improved dramatically. State employee productivity is significantly higher. Employees are back in the office, and we are back in business. During that same period, we welcomed a record number of visitors to the Silver State, and we are experiencing robust job creation. Nearly 1.6 million Nevadans are working, marking the highest number in our state's 160-year history. This remarkable achievement reflects the resilience and determination of our citizens and the progress we've made in building an economy that delivers results. But, in an unusual twist, Nevada's unemployment rate stands at 5.7%, a number that reminds us there's still a lot of work to be done. My administration is committed to ensuring that every Nevadan, no matter their circumstances, has access to meaningful opportunities to contribute and participate in our state's success. In my inaugural address, I spoke about unleashing the roar of Nevada's economy, and we are well on our way. I attribute it to the fact that the world wants to share in our rich entertainment and sporting event experiences. At the same time, business leaders around the globe have heard and answered the call that Nevada is open for business. These are good signs, no doubt. But as leaders, it's our responsibility to be on the lookout for early warning signs of change. While we can look forward with cautious optimism that our economy is stable, we must stay alert to sudden economic turns. To that end, my budget includes a record high reserve in the rainy day fund of $1.3 billion. Just imagine, 10 years ago, the rainy day fund had a balance of $330 million. 4 years ago, due to the pandemic, it was drained to zero. We made smart fiscal decisions and we instituted prudent policies to protect ourselves. We should pause and note. Those of us who were here 2 years ago can be gratified knowing we are responsible for being responsible. It's safe to say we Nevadans are no strangers to hardship. And it's the story of our nature. It's the nature of our story, so we must act accordingly. Let me provide you with another example we've accomplished since taking office, this time in education. Remember, I said we've accomplished. Last session, we added over $2 billion in new funding for Nevada students in schools, the largest education investment in our state's history. Hand in hand with that historic achievement, we worked last session to make our schools safer and more accessible to Nevada families in all 17 counties. We heard the urgent voices of students, parents, and teachers that said the safety of our schools was under threat. They asked us to step up, to re-empower teachers, and to give students the reinforcement they need to grow academically, while also learning the value of respect and responsibility. I was proud to collaborate with the legislature last session to pass 2 bills that reestablished control and accountability in our schools. Together, we also made major new commitments to state-funded pre-K through building out additional capacity for our youngest learners. We created transportation options for students who choose to attend charter schools. And we supported our teacher workforce by creating new professional pathways and scholarships. That level of cooperation, the willingness to come together and find common ground, is what I hope for in this session. As we work to solve the needs of our students, parents, and educators. I'll share more about in a few moments of what we propose to do this session to improve public education. First, I'm proud to present you a $12.7 billion executive budget that meets the commitments we made last session on pay raises for public employees and teachers. And I'm pleased to announce tonight, my budget will make teacher pay raises permanent. I'm also announcing that I'll be extending pay raises to all charter school teachers. Additionally, my budget introduces important changes in how we conduct state business. It bolsters our purchasing power to save taxpayer dollars. And it's a budget that is transparent in addressing inescapable realities, like program roll-ups amid the growing scarcity of federal dollars. Let's face it, as we get ready for the 120-day session, we all know working families need to catch a break. I can assure you that every single one of my budget decisions was focused on delivering on that commitment. Most important, this is a budget that's centered and balanced on the promise of not raising taxes. Not raising taxes on our hard-working Nevada families. My fellow Nevadans, I stand before you to tell you that the state of our state is steadily improving. We are certainly headed in the right direction and the outlook is positive. There's always a but there, right? But for it to remain sustainable, we must sharpen our discipline and focus. Prices are higher because of the compounding effects of inflation, and the cost of living continues to weigh on our families. Housing costs are stretching budgets thin. Healthcare costs remain a heavy burden, and access to healthcare is too limited for too many. With these concerns in mind, I'll share something with you. Last month, I declined to include millions of dollars in state agency requests for more funding in this budget. Many of the proposed program enhancements were thoughtful, but now is exactly the wrong time to strap more burden on the backs of hardworking Nevada families. So I held the line. Considering the added financial pressures Nevada families are feeling, I instructed my cabinet to lock in the resolve to say no to more spending and yes to more accountability and resourcefulness. Among my top budget priorities, I want to mention one in particular. It's one I expect will be met with bipartisan support. I am announcing that we will be splitting up the Department of Health and Human Services, and I will stand up the Nevada Health Authority, which will be assigned the critical responsibilities of managing Medicaid, the health exchange, employee benefits, mental health funding, and other services. Brian, good to see you, sir. This new authority will capitalize on the broad and strong purchasing power of the state when it comes to health insurance. Leveraging that power enables us to cut a better deal for taxpayers, while offering better insurance options for Medicaid members, those Nevadans enrolled in the exchange, and state employees. To lead this new agency, I am proud to announce I've asked one of Nevada's hardest working and most effective public employees to take on this assignment. Please join me in recognizing Stacy Weeks. You got more applause than me. Making this significant adjustment in the way we address health care is an essential step in helping all Nevadans, and I urge your support for this critical shift in health care management. Nevada is entering a crucial phase, confronting challenges that demand serious, comprehensive, and forward-thinking solutions. From housing affordability and health care access to educational outcomes, public safety, and economic policy. To address these critical needs, I am introducing 5 priority pieces of legislation that reflect my administration's vision for Nevada's future. Each of these proposals represents a comprehensive and strategic approach to addressing the challenges we face, designed to deliver tangible results, improve government efficiency, and provide financial relief to taxpayers. I would ask that before some of you say no, work with me, collaborate with my agency heads, ask questions, give input, offer alternatives, and set aside partisan politics. The stubborn reality is that if we do nothing, these challenges only become more difficult. Let me say this plainly. Donna and I are grandparents, and we feel firsthand the struggle young families are having with housing costs. We know too many Nevadans are seriously questioning if they'll ever have the chance to own a home. Everyone watching and listening tonight has been affected by this crisis. No one is untouched. Finding sensible solutions requires leadership, partnership, and bipartisanship. I know we can do this if we set our minds to it. The root cause of our crisis is Nevada families and builders are being held back by the federal government's reluctance to release the land we need for housing. With over 80% of our state under federal control, bureaucratic delays have driven up costs and shut down opportunities. My administration has fought hard to change that, pushing Washington to make land available for the people who need it most. I've spoken with President Trump on multiple occasions to let him know how important it is that more federal land be released so we can relieve the mounting pressure on our housing inventory. I have great confidence that President Trump understands and will help. I've also been in constant contact with our congressional delegation, who are working closely with us to cut through the DC bureaucratic red tape. But while we press for federal action, we're not waiting. We bear an important responsibility to protect the natural splendor of Nevada while solving our housing crisis. That means supporting what works and shedding outdated practices that slow progress or drive up costs. By streamlining permits, prioritizing the use of every buildable acre of land for Nevadans, not out-of-state investors looking to cash in. We are creating a route for housing attainability for all. Thank you, Zach. The Nevada Attainable Housing Act is our action plan to get this done. This comprehensive legislation tackles housing needs on multiple fronts, fostering innovation, incentivizing development, and creating public-private partnerships. The bill prioritizes state funding that will support $1 billion in new attainable housing units across Nevada. This investment empowers Nevada builders to create homes for the people who live and work here, helping families secure stable housing, creating pathways to home ownership for essential workers like teachers, nurses, and first responders, and supporting transitional housing for those starting over. By focusing on solutions that expand housing supply through collaboration, not heavy-handed mandates that choke growth, this plan is about partnerships, builders, governments, and communities working together to create housing by Nevadans for Nevadans. We also need to continue the great work our fire agencies and stakeholders are doing to protect us from the growing risk of wildfires. If fires do occur, despite our best efforts, we need to ensure our homeowners and residents can have adequate insurance in place to help recover from loss and to stay in their homes. We know a house isn't just four walls and a roof. It's the foundation for a better life. Whether you're renting, saving for your first home, or starting over, know this: we see you, we hear you, and we're in this together. Just this week, the Office of Economic Development formally approved the Campus for Hope, a $200 million initiative that embodies the power of public-private partnership, funded by the state and the private sector through the Campus for Hope Foundation. This groundbreaking project will provide life-changing resources for those experiencing homelessness. By bringing together the state, local governments, and business community partners, the Campus for Hope exemplifies Nevada's commitment to innovative, results-driven solutions. More than just a building, the campus represents the promise of a better future. Combining the collective will of the 63 of you and me, we can build more than houses. We can convert Nevada's promise into reality, a place where every family can thrive, every community can grow, and every dream can find a home. That's the Nevada way. Nevada is home to some of the best doctors, nurses, and hospitals in the country. But we have a significant challenge. We need more of them. With some of the lowest provider-to-patient ratios in the nation, far too many Nevadans are left waiting for care, or worse, going without it. This session, we're confronting this issue with a bold plan to modernize and strengthen our healthcare system. We're also removing barriers that prevent providers from focusing on what matters most, delivering high-quality care. By 2028, all health insurance plans in Nevada will be required to adopt standardized and digitize prior authorization plans, thus reducing delays for patients and providers. Concurrently, we are investing in partnerships that address both healthcare and economic development challenges. We're doubling our investment in graduate medical education. Incentivizing providers to serve in underserved areas, and leveraging telemedicine. We are creating new career opportunities and ensuring that quality care reaches every corner of the state. These initiatives are grounded in a simple but profound belief that the strength of Nevada's communities begins with the health of its people. As I mentioned earlier, at the heart of this effort is the creation of Nevada Health Authority, a streamlined agency designed to address our state's most pressing healthcare needs. This agency will include the Office of Mental Health to expand access to behavioral health services and ensure better coordination of care for Nevada's most vulnerable residents. We're building a system where families can trust they will find the care they need closer to home, where providers want to practice, and where every investment enhances the health and prosperity of our state. Because healthcare is more than just a service, it's a lifeline, it's an equalizer. It's a promise that no Nevadan, no matter where they live, will be left behind. In 2023, we delivered the largest investment in K-12 education in Nevada's history. We did it because we believe every Nevada child deserves an education that prepares them for careers, college, and life. We've invested the money, a lot of it, and we made a solid commitment to students, families, and educators. Together, we ensured that students facing the greatest challenges, those learning English, or those at risk of falling behind, or those with exceptional talents, receive the support they need and deserve. I am proud of what we've done. But folks, we can no longer accept the lack of funding as an excuse for chronic underperformance. I'm a big believer in school choice. Some of you are too. And I recognize some of you are not. When it comes to our education system, let's ask ourselves two direct questions. One, are we satisfied with the status quo that results in our education system year after year bouncing near the bottom of national metrics? No. I know I'm not. And two, shouldn't we collaborate more to close the achievement gaps plaguing our schools and challenge ourselves to try something different? To change the outcome, we must be willing to change the model. My view is, and other states around the country are adopting similar views. No child should be trapped in a failing school because of their zip code, or held down because of how much their parents or grandparents earn. The Nevada Accountability in Education Act sets out 4 specific areas how we intend to impose accountability, accelerate improvement, and give every student a legitimate shot at success. First, we are advancing policies that demand stricter accountability, equity, and excellence across every level of our education system. We are raising the bar for our schools, our school districts, and school boards. Second, we are expanding open enrollment policies to break down geographic barriers and provide transportation support to make choice available for all families. Every parent deserves the freedom to find the best educational setting for their child, no exceptions. Third, we are doubling down on teaching excellence. The Excellence in Education Fund will reward Nevada's highest performing teachers and administrators. Finally, we are addressing one of the most fundamental issues in education, early literacy. For those schools that are struggling, we will dedicate targeted resources to drive improvement while holding everyone accountable for results. If a school is found to be consistently underperforming, make no mistake, my bill proposes decisive action. We've done good work together. We must do better. Let's make a permanent difference in our schools. The safety of our citizens I'm looking at the Supreme Court, never mind. The safety of our citizens continues to rank as a top priority, and in 2022, Nevada voters elected a sheriff to be their governor. Several years ago, laws were put on the books that softened criminal penalties, weakened judicial discretion in sentencing, tied the hands of prosecutors, and restricted justice for the victims of crime. In 2023, we set out to change that. I sponsored and you passed legislation strengthening certain elements of the Nevada's criminal code. But we must do more. As a part of my commitment to protecting Nevada families, I will be forwarding for your consideration the Safe Streets and Neighborhoods Act. This legislation supports victims of crimes, holds repeat and violent offenders accountable for their actions, and invests in curbing the abuse of drugs, which are often the central cause of criminal activity. Imagine a world where California is tougher on criminals than Nevada. That is reality. That is the reality we face today. California voters recently approved stricter measures to address smash and grab crimes, lowering the threshold for felony prosecution, and imposing enhanced penalties for repeat offenders. To restore a sense of law and order, my proposed legislation reduces the felony theft threshold and implements enhanced penalties for repeat offenders, regardless of the value involved. Let's make it harder for these career criminals to victimize Nevadans. My bill also addresses a broad range of other public safety issues, including DUI laws, domestic violence, bail policies, stalking, and cyber stalking. Perhaps most notable is that the Safe Streets and Neighborhoods Act prohibits the use of diversion courts for offenders who commit crimes against the most vulnerable amongst us, our children and the elderly. We can't understate the role drug traffickers play in fueling a vicious cycle of addiction and crime. My bill takes direct aim at this crisis by reducing trafficking thresholds to stop illegal drugs and the criminals who push them. I know everyone here tonight believes strongly in the importance of public safety. Last session, we made noteworthy progress and helped make our communities safer. Let's build on that momentum. Our state is at a pivotal moment, emerging from the challenges of recent years and poised to reshape the economic future. To foster growth, we are rethinking economic development to focus on strategies that directly benefit businesses, workers, and families already established in our state. By modernizing incentives, we are ensuring that industries that create high-quality jobs, advance clean energy, and address essential needs like healthcare and childcare are encouraged and rewarded. And by embracing innovation and sustainability, we will be able to empower a diverse economy and strengthen local businesses. Targeted tax credits for child care facilities, for example, help working families, but also support businesses in building a stronger, more inclusive workforce. Economic development is about more than dollars and deals. It's about creating opportunities that benefit every Nevadadan. This effort is grounded in the principle that economic growth must uplift communities and improve lives. Through investments in infrastructure and strategic partnerships, we're closing gaps that have long held us back from meeting the needs of underserved rural areas and emerging industries. Nevada will not simply follow the future. We will define it. In our state government, we have over 300 boards and commissions. Thanks to the legislature's passage of SB 431 last session, we made early strides in centralizing oversight, improving transparency, and implementing uniform standards for these boards and commissions. But it's become clear to me that our system of boards lacks the organization, the efficiency, and the accountability that our citizens expect. That's why I asked my Director of Business and Industry, Dr. Chris Sanchez. Chris, where are you at? He's a PhD, not a medical doctor. To take a hard look at the functionality of the system and to evaluate the purpose of every board. He was tasked with finding ways to streamline, to consolidate, and to ensure these panels are performing to their maximum potential. We know many of these boards are necessary. They provide technical expertise, safeguard public interest, and help keep our communities safe and strong. But we must ask ourselves, are these boards efficiently fulfilling their mission? Are they making the best use of your hard-earned tax dollars? Or have they outlived their usefulness? Together, let's expand on what we did last session and finish the good work that Director Sanchez has already begun. We need an effective system of boards and commissions that reflects the needs and values of Nevada, a system that is smart, lean, and productive. Smart, lean, and productive. Just a little color to that statement. I asked the legislature not to get nervous when he plops that bill down on the table. I saw it, it's big. But we'll get through it. 2 years ago, I said to you, the right to vote is one of the most fundamental rights in American society. I also said that for our election system to function properly, it is vitally important to, one, verify the identity of our voters. Two, ensure that all mail-in ballots are received by the time the polls close on Election Day. On the first point, I argued that while we require people to have a valid form of ID for many daily functions, but not an ID to vote, makes no sense. I vowed that if we couldn't reach agreement, that I would put it before the people and ask them to get it done. You know what happened? Nevada voters agreed with me. And voter ID received more total votes than any candidate or any question on the 2024 ballot. And I expect it to pass overwhelmingly again in 2026. On the second point, it makes zero sense to keep counting ballots 4 days after an election. We can be proud that Nevada is one of the easiest places to cast a vote. But it's time we make sure the votes are in and counted by Election Day. I have no doubt we can get this done. Working together with Secretary of State Fiscal Aguilar, we can enact this simple bipartisan fix to finish our elections on time. I would hope that this is one of the first bipartisan bills I sign. Honestly, I prefer not to go to the ballot on this issue. But if the legislature chooses not to pass it, I'll again lead an effort to take it to the voters and ask them to decide. The fun part of the speech. The First Lady. Before I conclude, tonight I'd like to recognize the First Lady who does so much for our state. Amazing how humble she is. The truth is, I could not effectively do this job without the First Lady by my side. She keeps me grounded, and she's a steady and reliable voice of reason. She has her own full-time job and still has enough energy at the end of the day to listen to me and to give me sound advice. Sometimes. She's an excellent role model, a terrific mother and grandmother, and the best friend a governor could have. Donna Lombardo, thank you. Thank you for everything you do for me, our family, and for the Nevada families across the state. All right, in closing. I know where you live, Richard. In closing, I want to invoke the genius of Lincoln and Jefferson. to let us reaffirm that in this chamber tonight, there are no Republicans, no Democrats, just regular Nevadans who are bonded by our shared history that teaches us again and again there are no challenges we cannot overcome if we summon the will to work together. The voters of Nevada hired us and tasked us with conducting their business efficiently and ethically. Before you adjourn this session and return home, let's strike a solemn pledge to the people we represent, to do something remarkable that is worthy of being remembered in the areas of housing, healthcare, education, public safety, and economic diversification. My fellow Nevadans, to succeed, we must focus on what unites us. We must set our sights on shared goals and rise above the harsh political rhetoric. In 5 months, we will be judged, you and me, by the results we achieve together. In my first State of the State, I stood before you and said my administration will govern with transparency, candor, and integrity, and we've kept that promise. Tonight, I stand ready to renew that commitment with equal resolve and enthusiasm. A century from now, let's enable our grandchildren's grandchildren to look back to 2025 as a time when Nevada's elected leaders were unrestrained by unnecessary interferences and followed the Nevada way. God bless our Nevada military service members deployed around the world. God bless Nevada. God bless you. And God bless America. Thank you.
All right, you just heard from Governor Joe Lombardo, the 31st governor of the Silver State, outlining what he's accomplished and his goals for the year ahead. Of course, he touted his robust job creation, the largest investment in education, and rebuilding a depleted rainy day fund from the pandemic for a record reserve now. He also announced permanent pay raises for teachers and charter school teachers. And Steve Sebelius joins us right now with more on your take. It seemed like he covered everything from medical care, doctors, owning a home here, and some big announcements, too, about some state agencies.
Yeah, definitely. I was struck by the fact that, the budget is $12.7 billion.
Right.
And he's got $1.3 billion in a savings account that was at zero balance just 4 years ago. So that was a pretty remarkable thing. And it bodes well for Nevada's future in case we, hit hard times. Our state always is the hardest hit when we have downturns and sales tax revenues go down. So we're well positioned in that area.
Right. He says we're heading in the right direction. The other thing I thought was interesting, and it's been a big issue here with the release, 80% of our land being federal land and not being released. He said he's had conversations with President-elect Trump, who he says understands the issue, but doing business with Nevada developers so Nevadans can get homes and affordable housing.
Yeah, it's interesting, Tricia, because he was criticized in a memo that the Democratic Party sent out before this for vetoing bills that were aimed at affordable housing. Lombardo's approach is totally different. He wants to incentivize people in the private sector to build these houses by getting them affordable land, by getting regulations and red tape out of the way and building that way, as opposed to a Democratic approach, which is kind of heavy-handed, staying evictions and continuing a moratorium on evictions while people are trying to get through the process of getting help from the courts. And so it's really just two different philosophies on that. But one thing nobody could argue with is that we definitely need more housing and more affordable housing for workforce.
Yeah, he seemed to be big also on working across party lines on getting work done. during his governorship.
Yes, getting stuff, I think he said, done. The funny thing about that is, this spirit of bipartisanship, every governor says it in every speech, and it lasts, it lasts. This is like 2 months from the bitterness of the election, 2 weeks until the legislature starts. I expect it to last till about maybe noon on the second day of the legislature,
Okay.
and then after that, we're back to our partisan corners, and we're going to see a lot of partisan fight. But there is a lot in this speech on which I think they can compromise. The election part, probably not so much, but maybe something on the housing.
All right, well, from Speaker Yeager, we have the Democratic response. Let's listen.
Good evening, my fellow Nevadans. My name is Steve Yeager, and I am the Speaker of the Nevada Assembly, and I represent Assembly District 9 in Southwest Las Vegas. On behalf of the Democrats who serve in the legislature, I'm honored to share some thoughts with you tonight about the direction of our state. This past November, Nevada voters again overwhelmingly voted for Democrats to lead our state legislature. Indeed, Nevada voters sent a clear message about the issues they care about and what they want for our state to look like in the future. We do not take your trust for granted, and we know that the decisions we make matter to you. So it is now time to get down to business for you, the people of Nevada. Governor Lombardo has said that working together is important to him. It is important to us as well. Governor, there is absolutely no need to break your veto record from the last session of 75 vetoes. Nevadans expect and deserve leaders who will work together to solve everyday problems. That is what we intend to do, and we sincerely hope that the governor is a willing partner in this effort. Our state song is Home Means Nevada. Like you, I am proud to call Nevada my home. But whether home can continue to mean Nevada for many depends upon the actions we take now to ensure that Nevada is a place of opportunity for everyone. Legislative Democrats believe that every Nevadan willing to put in a hard day's work should have the opportunity to get ahead. Sadly, that is not always the case today. But we do not fear the future. Instead, we are here to shape it for the better. So what will legislative Democrats do for you? We are proud of the efforts we made last legislative session when it comes to public education. We increased our investment more than any other state in the nation with a record $2.2 billion increase in the public education budget. But we didn't stop there. We set aside money to give our teachers pay raises that average 20%, raises that have drastically reduced teacher vacancies in both large and small school districts. While money is important, it isn't the only answer. To that end, we made accountability and transparency a central focus of our efforts. You, the taxpayer, deserve to know how your money is being spent, and you deserve to know it is being spent in a way that gets results. We will continue with those efforts, including fixing the issues with the Clark County School District Board of Trustees, which continues to make the news for all the wrong reasons. We will set minimum professional qualification standards for high-level school district administrators and ensure that there are ways to hold districts accountable if they don't live up to our collective expectations. We will also be prioritizing expanding pre-K opportunities, reauthorizing teacher raises, and improving the teacher training pipeline so that every classroom in every school has a qualified teacher. We won't settle for good enough. We will demand excellence. We will, however, continue to oppose any attempt to privatize public education and divert your taxpayer money to unaccountable private organizations, including out-of-state for-profit corporations who want to make money off of our students. It is wrong, and we will not allow it. Many Nevadans continue to feel the pinch as the cost of healthcare, childcare, housing, and more have all increased. Our paychecks are stretched thinner and thinner. This session, we will pass legislation to ease the financial burden on families, whether it's making housing more affordable, reducing healthcare costs, or ensuring that basic necessities are within reach. You deserve enough to pay your bills and have extra money in your pocket to occasionally take your family to a Golden Knights game, go Knights go, or make a birthday or Christmas that much more special for a loved one. It's why we will continue to prioritize lowering the cost of prescription drugs, as well as ensuring that every Nevada student is guaranteed breakfast and lunch at school. Governor Lombardo vetoed these efforts last legislative session, but we will bring them back because putting more money back in your pocket just makes sense. Housing costs are out of control in Nevada. Governor Lombardo has finally proposed legislation to address this issue. Legislative Democrats passed a number of bills to lower housing costs last session. Governor Lombardo vetoed nearly all of them. We look forward to sitting down with the governor and working on his proposals and our proposals. Inaction is simply not an option. Last November, voters overwhelmingly supported putting abortion protections in our state constitution. It is long past due. And with another successful vote in 2026, we will permanently expel politicians from medical examination rooms where they do not belong. We will continue to do everything we can at the legislature to protect the right to choose if and when to start a family. And we will strongly reject any Republican efforts to the contrary. We will also stand strong against any legislation that makes it harder for you to exercise your constitutional right to vote. Nevada is a unique state. Because of that, our voting laws must also be unique and allow you to vote in the way that makes the most sense for you, whether on election day, during in-person early voting, or by mail or drop box. Those politicians proposing to limit Nevada's robust voting system want to make it harder for you to vote so that your vote will not be counted. But we must not let politicians silence voters. Instead, all eligible voters deserve to be heard. Our hearts also go out to all of those affected by the wildfires in Los Angeles. And we thank the first responders for their tireless hard work to get these devastating fires under control. Now, Nevada is no stranger to wildfires, and it is a stark reminder that we must take bold action to address climate change here at home. For home to mean Nevada, not just for us, but for future generations, we must ensure that we have clean water and clean air, and that we protect our public lands. Nevada voters agree and voted to ensure 50% of our energy comes from renewable sources by 2030 and 100% by 2050. This means that we must build upon the work that legislative Democrats have done to transition to clean and renewable energy, modernizing our power grid, and creating good paying jobs in the process. Everyone deserves safety and security. Public safety is important to us because we all live here too. That's why we are committed to strengthening public safety, supporting law enforcement, and enacting programs that reduce crime. Additionally, we will work to protect the well-being of our most vulnerable, from our seniors to our children. Strong families are the foundation of a strong Nevada, and we will continue to prioritize legislation that prevents violent criminals from hurting our families. They must be incarcerated to keep us all safe. Now, gun violence is on the rise in our nation, our state, and our communities. Thoughts and prayers are not enough. Gun violence is now the leading cause of death among Americans under the age of 19. If Governor Lombardo and Republicans are serious about further addressing crime, they will work with us to pass common sense gun violence prevention measures because guns are all too often used in violent crime. This is unacceptable. We must also ensure that our police have the resources they need to tackle crime, and we've done that. In fact, on our watch, Nevada spent the highest percentage of its budget on law enforcement and public safety funding. We also need to continue rehabilitating those with issues that can be addressed, such as substance abuse and mental health. The ultimate goal of any criminal justice system is to use your taxpayer dollars wisely and to rehabilitate offenders so they do not again victimize. So we must not backtrack to the failed tough on crime legislation of the 1990s that was expensive, wasteful, and ineffective without making us any safer. You deserve better than that. People over politics will be our North Star when it comes to ensuring that the criminal justice system actually achieves justice for all. Now, we in the state legislature are closest to you, the voter. In the state assembly, each of us represent about 75,000 Nevadans. State senators represent about 150,000 Nevadans. We're all part-time legislators, meaning we live in our communities, we work in other jobs, and we are not in session. You have voted for us to represent you, and we do not take your support for granted. My fellow Nevadans, we are as ready as ever to get to work on your behalf. Continue to build a Nevada that works for everyone today and offers opportunities for the Nevadans of tomorrow. Indeed, it is our sacred duty to do just that. And we will continue to labor until the work is done. Thank you, my fellow Nevadans, and may God bless you, and may God bless the great state of Nevada. Good night.
And that was Speaker Yeager right there. It's going to definitely be an interesting session this year because he was
Well,
taking
welcome, everybody, and
contention
thank
to
you
a
for
lot
your
of
patience.
things that the governor had to say in his State of the State address, including education was a big one.
Yeah, you know, there's some mystery about that, Tricia, because the governor, although he said he was in favor of school choice, didn't indicate whether the bill that he was going to present includes school choice outside of the district. So maybe a student could transfer from one school in the district to another, but he didn't say whether that means a private school outside the district. You just heard Speaker Yeager say that's a non-starter, they're not going to do that. So if that's in the bill, I think that is probably dead. If it's within the district or within the district to go to a charter school, that might be an area that they could compromise on.
You know, something that struck me tonight between the governor and the response, nobody's talking about these potential tax credits that will be before the legislature in February, that it will be a game changer for Nevada and specifically Southern Nevada for Hollywood 2.0 to come here to Southern Nevada. Nobody mentioned anything about it tonight.
Absolutely. I mean, they mentioned billions of dollars, and that's what would be involved in a tax credit like that over a period of 10 or 20 years. That's certainly, we got some news last week. One of those two proposals may have hit some rough patches. The Warner Brothers studio broke up with the developer they were partnering with. So that leaves only one proposal, but that proposal is still very much on the table. It's something that they tried to get through at the end of the last session. It collapsed. It didn't happen toward the end of the last session. That is definitely still on the table. And you're right, nobody mentioned it. Not Speaker Yeager, not the governor.
No, and all he said is Nevada's open for business with sports and entertainment. Hollywood 2.0 would be a huge thing here.
That's definitely entertainment.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I also want to mention they started out today with a medical emergency with Tracy Brown May, who's from our district.
Yeah, from Southern Nevada, District
Right.
42, yeah.
And so they're wishing for prayers. We don't know anything about her condition or anything right now, but I did want to mention that since she is here. There was a medical emergency tonight in the chamber, according to the Nevada Broadcasters Association.
Yeah, definitely. That's a very rare thing. It has happened before. I remember former Assemblyman Tom Collins once had to be taken out on a gurney, actually, from the legislature. Obviously, he was okay. He's still alive and kicking today.
That's a character right there.
Yeah, absolutely. He sure is. You can't get rid of him that easily. So yeah, definitely. That kind of delayed the start of the governor's speech.
All right. Well, I know you're going to stay with us. And right after this break tonight, anchor Abel Garcia and Steve will have much more on the State of the State address, plus your latest local news. So stay with us.